Hello students, a very good evening to all of you. Welcome to my channel. This is a very important class on It is Easy to Learn Theory series, and today we will talk about new criticism. This is the first part of the video. But before starting, I want to give you a brief introduction about myself. Good evening Rajkishore, I am fine. How are you? Good evening Papri, good evening Gitu, welcome. My name is Brishti Mukherjee. I have qualified NTA UGC NET exam in English literature 4 times and have also qualified West Bengal SET examination. I have 2 years of teaching experience. Moreover, I have also taught in NPTEL online course from IIT Madras 3 times. So that is all about myself. This is the link of my Telegram channel. The link is also given in the description box. So those of you who have not joined yet, please join to get notification of all important classes. And also please don't forget to like, share and subscribe my YouTube channel so that many more new learners can join. And these are the timings of your classes: Monday to Friday at 8:30 p.m, Saturday, Sunday off. So don't forget to join me live. Please subscribe the channel and press the bell icon to get notifications. Okay, so let's start. Today we will talk about new criticism. So new criticism was originated and became popular at the end of 1930s and 50s. It was originated in English Romanticism, mainly Biographia Literaria written by Coleridge, and it was also influenced by American literature. These are the sources or the origins of new criticism. So why is it new? Because it is described as a response or an alternate way to interpret a literary text from biological historical perspective. Okay, so biological historical perspective, that is important for new criticism. So who are the main critics? I.A. Richards, John Crow Ransom, Cleanth Brooks, Wimsatt and Beardsley. They are the main critics. Wimsatt and Beardsley, they are the main critics of new criticism. Okay, so these are basic details. So what is the main point of new criticism? It is new because it has given a new approach to analyze any literary text. The new critics viewed the text as an adjunct to history or an illustration of that particular age, but it is not so worthy to study in detail. So history or the context of the text, it is important, but it should not be studied in detail. Okay, so text itself, that is the main slogan of new criticism. Joel Spingram coined the term new criticism. This is important, around 1910, to describe a changing idea of criticism gradually taking shape in Europe. Okay, so these are factual details. And John Crow Ransom wrote the book called New Criticism. तो term coin किया था जोल स्पिनग्राम ने, and New Criticism book लिखा था John Crow Ransom. So don't get confused between these two things. Okay. So come now we will talk about some important terms associated with new criticism. So this is the central theme, central point: autotelic text and close reading. Okay, so what is autotelic text? Every text is self-contained and independent. A literary work is timeless, autonomous or self-sufficient. So the main point of new critics is that text itself is a complete identity, a unified whole. Okay, so when you are analyzing a particular text, you need not to look at the context of the text or the details associated with the author's biography, the historical background of the text. These are not important. The text itself as a complete identity is a unified whole. Text is created by placing one word after another very appropriately and carefully, and through the relationship between words, meanings are formed. So this is important, right? Okay. So that is about autotelic text. Autotelic means a text which is complete in itself as a unified whole. That is autotelic text. Okay. Now, any literary text must be the sole source of evidence to interpret it. We need not to look at other objects or elements. Okay. Now, close reading. Close reading means to explore how a literary text works. use of images, symbols, language, rhetorical devices, all formal elements of a text must be analyzed closely. Hmm. Text is only a text and nothing else. So this is important. Whenever you are analyzing a text, you need not to look at the context or all these things associated with authors, biographical details, but कौन सी चीज के ऊपर फोकस करना है, that is the close reading of the text. Close reading means you need to read it minutely. Good evening, Ishan. Welcome. Ishan, I am trying to cover the major parts of the syllabus, but yes, we cannot say that anything is sufficient in literature. So I will suggest that you can watch my videos and at the same time you have to read yourself. Okay, so do your own reading also. Exam acha raha Rajkishore, it was good. Good evening Jyoti, welcome. I am fine. Good evening Ektaba, welcome. Okay, so use of images, symbols, language, rhetorical devices, all formal elements of a text must be analyzed closely. Okay, next आते हैं हम organic unity of a text. That was also there in biography literature. Organic wholeness of a poem, right? So what is organic unity of a text? It is a concept given by I.A. Richards in Principles of Literary Criticism. So the new critics believed that there are two types of language, scientific and emotive. So emotive language का एक दूसरा नाम है, that is literary. So scientific language, that is our daily language, which has denotative meaning only. Denotative meaning means one fixed meaning. One fixed meaning. ठीक है, जो मतलब कोई भी डिनोट कर सकते हैं very easily, which is the language of our daily life. But the emotive or literary language is different. It expresses something more than mere denotation. It is, you need to connote the language. It is not plain denotation, but इस language को समझने के लिए आपको थोड़ा बहुत background knowledge की जरूरत है. Through it, we can organize our thoughts and prepare a complex unity. Literary language offers aestheticism to a literary work. Okay? Literary language offers aesthetic beauty to a literary work. Specific words, if placed in specific orders, can only carry proper meaning. It is the if the combination is changed, then meaning will also be changed. So that is the organic wholeness or the organic unity of a text, that each and every element inside a particular text, each and every word must have proper meaning. And if some words are displaced or misplaced, then the meaning will also be changed. तो इससे आपको पता चलता है कि टेक्स्ट का ओवरऑल यूनिटी कैसा है. In that sense, text is formed using all the elements created through literary language. So literary language is important, and literary language or emotive language, this is very much connotative. This is not so easy. If you want to understand it, you must have a particular critical mindset. And whenever we are talking about any literary text, it has importance of all the elements. ठीक है, जो हमने बताया, images, symbols, all these things are closely associated with it, and you cannot skip any of these things. Thank you so much, Ishan. Yes, right. No deep or symbolic meaning is there in our everyday language. अच्छा, तो अब हम theorist में आते हैं. First important theorist is I.A. Richards, 1893 to 1979 is his time. तो I.A. Richards full name क्या है? I for Armstrong Richards. He was born on 26th February 1893 in Sandbach, England. He was the founding member of New Criticism. Okay, so these are his major text. कभी text के साथ literary theorist को match करने का questions आते हैं. So these are the major texts. The meaning of meaning, a study of the influence of language upon thought of the science of symbolism. It is a collaborated work with C.K. Ogden. Principles of literary criticism, ये सबसे ज़्यादा famous है. Practical criticism, this is also important. The philosophy of rhetoric, these are the major works written by I.A. Richards. इसको आप बस आपको बस याद करना है, the titles. तो अब आइए रिचर्ड्स का कुछ इंपॉर्टेंट कॉन्सेप्ट है, उसमें आते हैं फोर काइंड्स ऑफ मीनिंग। फोर काइंड्स ऑफ मीनिंग, तो ये कॉन्सेप्ट उन्होंने दिया था इन द बुक प्रैक्टिकल क्रिटिसिज्म। So what are the four types of meaning? According to him, every literary text has four types of meanings: sense, feeling, tone and intention. Sense, feeling, tone and intention. ठीक है, टोटल मीनिंग इज अ ब्लेंडिंग ऑफ ईच एंड एवरी मीनिंग। तो ऑर्गेनिक यूनिटी तो जरूरी है, एंड हर एक मीनिंग के साथ, मतलब हर एक टाइप्स के साथ टोटल मीनिंग कनेक्टेड है। So what is sense? Sense means what you are saying, feeling. Sorry, sense means what you are saying, what the text is saying to you. Feeling means the emotion or attitude or the interest of the text. Tone means uh, tone means the tonal quality. यहाँ पर मैंने क्या बोल गया? Tone means the tonal quality of a text, or you may say the mood of a text. The mood of a text, that is the tone. And attitude means attitude towards audience or reader, and intention refers to the writer's consciousness or writer's conscious or unconscious aim to produce meaning. Yes, tone, feeling, sense, intention. ठीक है, तो ये चार मीनिंग्स के बारे में उन्होंने बताया, एंड अकॉर्डिंग टू हिम इट इज देयर इन ईच एंड एवरी लिटरेरी टेक्स्ट। तो सेंस मीन्स व्हाट यू आर सेइंग, योर स्पीच। फीलिंग मीन्स द इमोशन। टोन का मतलब है द मूड ऑफ द टेक्स्ट और द टोनल क्वालिटी ऑफ द टेक्स्ट, एंड एटीट्यूड मीन्स एटीट्यूड टुवर्ड्स द ऑडियंस और द रीडर। An intention refers to the writer's conscious or unconscious aim to produce meaning, what the writer is trying to say. Okay. नेक्स्ट आते हैं, ये सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट कॉन्सेप्ट है, इंटेंशनल फैलेसी एंड अफेक्टिव फैलेसी। So what is intentional fallacy? It is the concept given by William Empson and Monroe Beardsley in their work Intentional Fallacy and Affective Fallacy. ठीक है, तो intentional fallacy means a mistake which critics often do while interpreting a text. That is intentional fallacy. So the critics often do, which means the author's intention, whether asserted by author himself or merely inferred from our knowledge, is irrelevant for the critic. तो ये जनरली हम सब करते हैं intentional fallacy. मतलब here it refers to the author's intention. We always try to identify what the author is trying to say here. So this is not important. Author's intention is not important for a critic. तो अगर आप ये ज्यादा करते हो तो ये fallacy हो जाते हैं. Fallacy means mistake. So intentional fallacy means it is a kind of mistake which critics often do, and they give priority to the interpretation of the author, but they himself or herself doesn't do not sure whether the author has already asserted it or not. ठीक है, तो हम बस अपने नॉलेज के हिसाब से कहते हैं कि ऑथर वांट्स टू से दिस थिंग, दैट इज द ऑथर्स इंटेंशन। यस, verbal icon is a very famous word, right? Sometimes a literary text does not live up to author's intention. It is more complex and meaningful. तो सिर्फ ऑथर्स का इंटेंशन जज करना आपका काम नहीं है, टेक्स्ट के अंदर बहुत ही ज्यादा कॉम्प्लेक्स चीजें रहता है। Author's intention only limits the perspective of a text interpretation. This is not a correct approach. That is why it is fallacy. ठीक है, and what is affective fallacy? Affective fallacy means judging a text by interpreting the emotional impact on the readers. Interpreting the emotional impact on the readers, that is important. That is affective fallacy. ठीक है, judging a text by interpreting the emotional impact on the readers. Okay. So affective fallacy confuses the text with its effects or emotions. So affective means affection के साथ related है। तो जब आप टेक्स्ट का जो इम्पैक्ट है रीडर के ऊपर, उसके आधार पर आप टेक्स्ट को स्टडी करते हो, दैट इज ऑल्सो अ फैलेसी। ठीक है, तो सिर्फ और सिर्फ इमोशनल डिटेल्स के साथ आप एक टेक्स्ट को स्टडी नहीं कर सकते। इट लीड्स टू इंप्रेशनिस्टिक रेस्पॉन्सेस एंड रिलेटिविज्म, जनरलाइज्ड आइडिया। नेक्स्ट क्रिटिक पर हम आते हैं, दैट इज क्लियंथ ब्रुक्स 1906 to 1994 is his timeline. He is also another very important new critic. So Cleanth Brooks was born on 16th October 1906 in Kentucky. He studied at Vanderbilt University in Nashville. He was associated with the group of fugitives or Southern agrarians. तो ये ग्रुप शायद एक बार क्वेश्चन में आया था कि सदर्न एग्रेरियन ग्रुप किसका है, तो मतलब कौन इसके साथ एसोसिएटेड है, तो आप याद रखना कि क्लियंथ ब्रुक्स इज एसोसिएटेड विद इट. He later studied in University of Oxford and he co-founded the journal The Southern Review with Robert Penn Warren. The Southern Review with Robert Penn Warren, ये उन्होंने co-author किया था, ठीक है. So that is about Cleanth Brooks biographical details. Now Cleanth Brooks का कुछ important works हैं, इसके बारे में हम पढ़ेंगे. वर्क्स आते हैं. दिस इज द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट वर्क, द वेल रॉट अर्न, सबटाइटल्ड एज स्टडीज इन द स्ट्रक्चर ऑफ पोएट्री 1947. द टाइटल इज टेकन फ्रॉम जॉन डन्स पोएम कैनोनाइजेशन. नेक्स्ट हम आते हैं अंडरस्टैंडिंग पोएट्री 1938, मॉडर्न पोएट्री एंड द ट्रेडिशन 1939. Then Keats is Sylvan historian, history without footnotes. It is talking about Ode on a Grecian Earth. Yes, absolutely right, Papri. Absolutely right. So this is important work. Keats is Sylvan historian, and ये याद रखना, the title is taken from Donne's canonization. ठीक है. अब उनके कॉन्सेप्ट में क्या आते हैं? फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ पैराडॉक्स. तो पैराडॉक्स का आइडिया सबसे फेमस है. इट इज गिवन in the language of paradox in this essay, The Well-Wrought Urn. So in that essay, The Well-Wrought Urn, there is a particular chapter on the language of paradox, जहां पर ब्रुक्स ने ये कॉन्सेप्ट दिया था. तो ये उनका बहुत ही एक फेमस लाइन है, द लैंग्वेज ऑफ पोएट्री इज द लैंग्वेज ऑफ पैराडॉक्स. दिस इज अ वेरी फेमस लाइन कि हर पोएट्री में पैराडॉक्स होता है अकॉर्डिंग टू हिम. Now what is paradox? Paradox आपने literary terms में पढ़ा है. It is a particular statement which contradicts itself, which means a literary device consisting of the anomalous juxtaposition of incongruous ideas. That is paradox. Okay, a literary device consisting of the anomalous juxtaposition of incongruous ideas. So paradox in poetry means that tension at the surface of a verse can lead to apparent contradiction. तो पोएट्री में कॉन्ट्राडिक्शन होता है, राइट. पोएट्री के लैंग्वेजेस में कॉन्ट्राडिक्शन होता है, तो जिसको हम कॉन्ट्रास्ट कहते हैं. So that is paradox की the apparent tension is contradictory in poetry. And ये उन्होंने definition दिया था कि paradox is a language in which the connotations play as great a part as the denotations. And he gives an example of the poem composed upon Westminster Bridge by Wordsworth. इसका एग्जाम्पल उन्होंने दिया था as an example of paradox. ठीक है. So the speaker is able to enjoy the industrialized beauty of London just as he appreciates any part of natural phenomenon. And here London also becomes a part of nature. तो दोनों कंप्लीटली अलग है, एक इंडस्ट्रियल सोसाइटी एंड एक नेचुरल सराउंडिंग्स. बट वर्ड्सवर्थ ने इस पोएट्री में इन दोनों को जक्सटापोज किया है, एंड दैट इज व्हाई इट इज एन एग्जांपल ऑफ पैराडॉक्स. Cleanth Brooks also says that the poem offers paradox not in its details but in the situation which the speaker creates. So he talks about situational paradox. Okay. Now another example is John Donne's poem The Canonization, where the speaker compares his love with saintliness. ये भी आपने पढ़ा है, ठीक है. एंड यहाँ पर पैराडॉक्स क्या है? लव एंड रिलीजियन. दीज टू आर पैराडॉक्सिकल कॉन्सेप्ट्स, बट he has mixed both these things. This seems to parody both love and religion, but in fact it combines them, pairing unlikely circumstances and demonstrating their resulting complex meaning. So absolutely right, love and religion, two things are contradictory, but John Donne here combines the two, and that is why it becomes a metaphysical poetry. Right, so that is paradox. Next concept में हम आते हैं the heresy of paraphrase. The heresy of paraphrase. So this is the title of the chapter in the book The Well-Wrought Urn by Cleanth Brooks. Same book में दोनों concept है. एंड यहाँ पर वो कह रहे हैं कि मीनिंग इन पोएट्री इज इररिड्यूसिबल. दिस इज द डेफिनेशन ऑफ क्लीएंथ ब्रुक्स. ही इज सेइंग दैट अ ट्रू पोएम इज अ सिमुलक्रम ऑफ रियलिटी. इट इज द कॉपी ऑफ रियलिटी, an experience rather than any mere statement about experience or any mere abstraction from experience. So according to him, poetry is an overall experience of the author. So it is a simulacrum of reality, and it is just a copy of reality. It is not any fragmented experience or any mere opinion on something. Rather, it is a complete experience as a whole. Hmm? तो पैराफ्रेज का क्या मतलब है? टू रीराइट समथिंग इन अ मोर सिंपल फॉर्म फॉर क्लैरिफिकेशन. ज्यादातर हम जो लॉन्ग पोएट्रीज होते हैं उनके पैराफ्रेज यूज करते हैं. एब्सोल्युटली पैराफ्रेज इज नॉट अ गुड वे टू जज अ टेक्स्ट. तो हेरेसी का मतलब है एरर, द एरर ऑफ पैराफ्रेज. Any reductionist attempt to transform poetic meaning to a prose statement is to do injustice to a poem. Absolutely right. So paraphrase हमेशा होता है prose form में, and when you are translating or not translating, when you are paraphrasing a poem into a prose, so it will be an injustice done to the poetry, because prose का statement completely अलग है and poetic sensibility is completely different. So you should not judge any text from paraphrase, specifically poetry. An excellent poem can never be understood through paraphrase. So this is also a mistake, as Cleanth Brooks is saying. The readers can only get the idea of the plot but miss the artistic beauty. तो इससे आपको summary पता चलता है, but the exact beauty और जिसको हम close reading कहते हैं not be done. Form and content are inseparable in a poem. Content can be summarized but not the form. What I have just said, that you can read the summary but you cannot understand the exact format of the poem. ठीक है. So that is about Cleanth Brooks. बहुत difficult कुछ नहीं है, बस थोड़ा सा आपको पढ़ना है and याद रखना है. Concepts are easy. Okay. So next हम आते हैं next and the last theorist of today's class, that is William Empson. 1906 to 1984 is his timeline. William Empson. And William Empson आप सबको पता है, famous for this work, 7 types of ambiguity. He was born on 27th September 1906 in Yorkshire. He studied at Winchester College and later to Magdalen College. तो ये उनका सबसे फेमस वर्क है, 7 types of ambiguity, some versions of pastoral, Milton's God 1961, essays on Shakespeare 1986, Foster's and the Censor. These are major works. Yes, absolutely right, Papni. तो 7 types of ambiguity. अब ये क्या चीज है 7 types of ambiguity? तो यही उनका मेजर कॉन्सेप्ट है एंड सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट कॉन्सेप्ट है. तो एम्सन ऑब्जर्व्स दैट देयर आर सर्टेन मोमेंट्स इन अ पर्टिकुलर टेक्स्ट where interpretation is not so clear. Absolutely ambiguous works हमको पता है, ambiguous portions होता है in some poetry. For example, in Wasteland you will find so many ambiguous passages. So he criticizes this ambiguities found in poetry. He is not supporting it. ठीक है. तो उन्होंने 7 बताया है एम्बिग्विटीज के बारे में. फर्स्ट है मेटाफोर. इट इज अ काइंड ऑफ इम्प्लिसिट कंपैरिजन बिटवीन द टू थिंग्स आर सेड अलाइक. राइट. इम्प्लिसिट कंपैरिजन आपने पढ़ा था रिटोरिक्स में, दैट इज मेटाफोर. तो ऑफन समटाइम्स द मेटाफोर बिकम्स डिफिकल्ट टू अंडरस्टैंड. दैट इज वन एम्बिग्विटी. नेक्स्ट है एंटीथेसिस. इट इज द यूज ऑफ कॉन्ट्रास्टिंग आइडियाज इन अ सिंगल सेंटेंस व्हिच कैन ऑफन कंफ्यूज द रीडर. Third है allegory. Allegory means an inherent meaning is there and it also leads complexity to a particular text. Fourth one is using 2 or more meanings that do not agree but combine to make a clear and complicated state of the poet's mind. तो मतलब apparently dissimilar things को जब आप एक साथ बताते हो for the sake of poetry, then oftentimes it becomes ambiguous. Fifth one is simile, which lies halfway between 2 statements made by the author. तो simile को भी वो criticize कर रहे हैं. Yes, तो ज्यादातर अगर आप simile यूज करते हो तो उससे क्या होता है कि टेक्स्ट से आप कभी कभी बाहर चले जाते हो कंपैरिजन की. नेक्स्ट आते हैं when a statement says nothing and the readers are forced to invent a statement of their own. It is there in the नॉवेल ट्रिस्ट्राम शैंडी, जिसमें आपको ब्लैक पेज और ब्लैंक पेज मिलता है. ठीक है. तो ये इसको बस छोड़ दिया गया है फॉर योर ओन इंटरप्रिटेशन. फॉर योर ओन इंटरप्रिटेशन. ओके, सो ब्लैंक पेज इस टाइप का जो चीज है, वही चीज कह रहा है कि अ स्टेटमेंट सेज नथिंग बट द रीडर्स आर फोर्स टू थिंक ऑफ दैट थिंग, so it creates ambiguity. Yes, absolutely. Sixth one tells nothing. Seventh one is the use of two opposite words in a context that expose a fundamental division of the author's mind. Yes, like absurd drama. Good evening, Mukesh. तो ये है 7 टाइप्स के एम्बिग्यूटी। तो कौन कौन से 7 टाइप्स है इसको याद रखना, ठीक है। और भी कई सारे थ्योरिस्ट बाकी है न्यू क्रिटिक्स का, जो हम कल की क्लास में करेंगे, ठीक है। So that is the end of today's class. Thank you all for joining. This is the link of my Telegram channel. The link is also given in the description box. So those of you who have not joined yet, please join to get notification of all important classes. These are the timings of your classes: Monday to Friday at 8:30 p.m., Saturday, Sunday off. So don't forget to join me live. Please subscribe the channel and press the bell icon to get notification. Okay, so thank you all. Bye bye everyone. Good night. See you all tomorrow at 8:30 p.m.